Oh, baby. There's nothing like the sound of those early air-cooled door closers. We're here at Hendrick Porsche today. We have a really awesome episode coming. Stay tuned, check it out.
Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to the Windsor Time channel. Today we have taken a field trip. We are not in our usual filming location. We are at what I would call one of the two best stores.
The greatest place on
in
earth.
Charlotte. Yeah, you've got Windsor, and then we are at Hendrick Porsche today. Our friends here were kind enough to let us film in their kind of front living room area here.
It's a very cool space.
It is. I've sat here while many a service has been done back over there. It's a great place to hang out.
We're surrounded by unbelievable machines.
Incredible cars. We will put up several shots. There are no shortage of beautiful cars here. And yeah, we're both Porsche enthusiasts and love the brand and everything they're about. And the motorsport as well, obviously.
And what better two things tie together than watches and cars? You know, it's there's a lot of analogous collectability there, and just fun and engineering. You know, so
absolutely
hard to be filming in a better place.
Yeah, couldn't imagine that. So today we are going to talk about the top 3 mistakes collectors make when buying luxury watches. This is sort of a secondary 3 steps, if you will, or mistakes. If you're just getting into it, I would say to very quickly touch on, always buy the seller. So a trusted seller is definitely always worth a premium.
Absolutely.
We've seen many a person get burned on, you tried to save $2,000 on your first nice watch, and then, you don't know what you don't know. So you can easily get burned on it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it many times.
Yeah, or just, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole that quickly, but if you don't know the seller or you don't know of the seller, you just got to be super careful. And, there's a lot of fraud out there. There's a lot of fake watches. We all know there's super clones. You hear stories of times where people have bought something and it's been passed between 3 or 4 different sellers before someone even realizes it's
correct.
And for no purpose, nothing nefarious, but they're so good that, the seller just doesn't even know.
Yeah.
And it just trickles down until it gets to someone who's unfortunately the victim and then finds out. And, don't want to cast negativity on this video, but there's just a lot of reasons to know the seller, and there's a lot of great sellers out there who their name is their reputation, and that is everything for them. And if you get to that type of seller, that's really who you want to be working with, whether it's a new authorized dealer of something or if it's a secondary market, well-known dealer.
Yeah, and fakes, 10 years ago, I think they were a bit laughable, and you could easily tell, but...
Yeah, some were getting there. Now it's the Wild West. It's wild.
Almost one-to-one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Always go in and try on the watch. That's another big one when you're getting started.
Yeah.
But we're going to jump into some deeper points. Before we get to that, mandatory wristwatch check. What are we wearing?
I am wearing my vintage Tudor sub. It is from 1981.
Killer.
And it is just, it's a piece that I have loved now for 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
And I think it's just been a great combination of vintage quality, but still super wearable. I've had it on this Erica's original strap, kind of faux Marine Nationale strap.
I was going to say it came on the bracelet, but I don't think I've ever seen you wear it on that.
I have the original bracelet. I took it off almost immediately, even though I loved it, and that's why I bought it. But I just thought the Marine Nationale style sort of, parachute style strap was just super cool.
Yeah. So and the cream stripe on it almost perfectly matches the patina.
This watch is interesting. It has this beautifully faded bezel, which should be original to the watch. The dial's spectacular, but it's almost this like deep sea blue. The hands, everything matches so well. And then what I really like about it, frankly, I do think it was re-edged at one point, but it has beautiful chamfering to the lugs.
It does.
It's just awesome. Yeah. And so whether it's been refinished or not on the case, I think they did a phenomenal job originally. The trusted seller I bought it from, who I won't mention right now, but maybe it'll come up later. I think they did just a phenomenal job of sort of making this the ideal version of what it would have been if you were buying it new, or as close to it.
Absolutely.
And I love it.
Killer watch.
And it's one of those watches that gives you all the feels of that neo vintage to vintage watch, but it's still a robust, durable watch you can wear today, even with a plexi crystal and everything.
Well, and that's always the concern. I think we both love vintage, but day to day, you're knocking a watch around. Maybe you jump in a pool, whatever. It is summer.
Yeah.
And that is something that can definitely hold up to it.
It also is built, or it's worn just enough where I don't worry a thing about wearing it, where it's not so perfect that you are worried about hitting it on a door jamb, which is the
Right.
case with a lot of vintage watches. You don't, you worried that you get them in this perfect condition and then you don't want to actually, can't enjoy them.
Yeah.
So this is very enjoyable, very, a driver, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Killer.
how about you?
So I am wearing what I would say is the modern interpretation of that watch. This is the Tudor Pelagos in the original larger size, so 42 millimeters. This is a little bit special, obviously, to us, because this is the Carolina Watch Club edition.
Yeah.
So it is a double sign with our logo on it, which is just the coolest thing. And the further we get out from this watch having come out, that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Probably longer than we think.
It actually, oh God, yeah, it would have been 5 or 6 years. The more special this gets, because there was a time in Tudor's history in that period where they were kind of doing watches like this, but they have very much gotten away from it. And I mean, this is a watch truly, they come out with the FXD and the 39 millimeter version. But this to me is just a capable modern day tool watch that can truly do anything.
Totally.
It's just incredible. So,
I agree with you too. They are like two sides of the same coin in a way, just different generations.
Absolutely.
One's titanium, one's steel, but otherwise very, same story going on.
Yeah, great watches. So let's go ahead and dive into our 3 points for today. And we'll have, B-roll different watches and things up, so you don't have to just listen to us talk. But the first point I want to touch on is something that we, I think, have all fallen into, and it is just buying watches with no thought of the larger collection and how you're actually going to wear them. So, let's say the average guy has 5 to 10 watches, rushing in and buying a bunch of watches and not thinking about, I have 3 dive watches already, is the 4th really going to bring joy? With all these, I'll say there are caveats because I think we're both guilty of these things.
Yeah, I think anyone is. I have a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, I think it can go too far the other way, where people can be too thoughtful about their collection, where they're like, I have to have my diver, I need to have land, sea, and air. I have to have all these things, versus what does actually inspire them or excite them. Because maybe there are cases where someone does just, they think they want to collect all these other things, but at the end of the day, on their wrist, they do just love divers. So I can see it in different ways.
Definitely.
I don't think it's a one size fits all answer to what should or should not be done. But I do think a lot of people from the jump do start buying things just because they think they should buy something.
Correct.
And that's what they're told on a hype reel on Instagram, that this is the watch for you, and they haven't actually tried it on, or seen where it fits in their lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think, not to rush on too much, but that leads perfectly into the second point, which is just buying hype watches. And I think this is something that we saw most prevalently start in 2020, at least in my watch collecting time. Where, there are, call it 5 to 10 watches that you would see with such a repetitive nature on social media that you just wanted those, and you aren't really thinking, is this truly what I want? The thought of investing in watches, I would say, also kind of came in that same vein, in that same time and period.
That's right.
And of course, you don't want to lose money on these things, but you also want to focus on it as a fun thing and not, just an expansion of your portfolio.
There really is a crazy, it's so cliche to say it, but there's a COVID line in the sand where, 2020 came around and the world became encapsulated in our little social media echo chambers, and watches, some of the brands were starting to do their own social media, but even up to that point, some of the biggest brands out there did not have much of a social media, Instagram, et cetera, presence whatsoever. Now they have a monstrous presence.
Sure.
But they saw very quickly that, this world became captured in that way. And you had the enthusiasts prior to that who made up, probably, maybe not the majority of the buyers, but people were truly buying what they loved, their luxuries. I think people have forgotten what the idea of a luxury is. It's something you relatively frivolously may spend money on just because you like it. It is a luxury for you, for your life. Now, the idea of luxury has become more asset class based for a lot of people, and therefore they're buying things perhaps not because they like it, but
there's a fun dog,
a fluffy dog in the background distracting me. People buying because they think it's a good investment. They think
it's a commodity.
They think, it's a commodity, or they think that there's a lot of this, I should be buying this watch, I should be buying this particular sports model, versus I tried 5 watches on and I liked these 2.
Yeah.
Let me buy those. And
Sure.
they fit my style. They fit, I think there are plenty of people out there still buying what they like, but I think there's an equal, if not larger portion buying things based on what they're being told to buy.
Gratification.
Yeah, the gratification
of other
of the and there's always been the thrill of the chase, and that's been a part of luxury forever. But I think it's now gratifying the idea of what other people think you should be wearing, which is pretty frustrating. But at the same time, for those people who are really doing it for themselves, they're truly enthusiasts. They're still finding a lot of joy in this.
Yeah. I think the upside to it is, as enthusiasts, there are watches that should be more expensive than they are. So if you look
1 billion percent
the last 5 to 7 years, precious metal dress watches in 37 to 39 millimeters, not to be too exact, but the value you can get in pre-owned Patek, for example, in the low 30,000s in dress watches, as compared to what their sports offering may be on the secondary market specifically, is wild. You can get annual calendars under $40,000 when you're talking about 3-handed sports models going into the 6 figures.
On that same note, it has affected brands at large, where you'll have what are essentially equivalently revenue-generating luxury brands, but the market perception of one brand, we all know this, but the market perception of one brand is drastically different on the secondary than another, even though they make a relatively equivalently wonderful watch. And I don't want to throw any names out there, but I think about buying a Breitling on the secondary market. I love Breitling, but so many of their watches are just unbelievable values on the secondary market, even though they're these unbelievable, incredible engineered devices. And I think they're underappreciated because the asset collector is not saying go buy Breitling. They're going saying buy these other couple of brands. And that's just one example. But but they're I think looking back in a couple of decades, people are going to realize, wow, that brand was very underappreciated, at least on the secondary market.
There is, I will put a shot up of it now, a pistachio manually wound Breitling Premier in our pre-owned right now.
Yeah, it's an insane watch.
$7,500 in almost new condition. And because, again, to your point, it's not one of those 3 brands that we all know. You can get incredible value on that.
Even our price is probably not one of the lower prices on that watch out there. There's probably, not to shoot ourselves in the foot, but there's probably lower price points out there of that watch, and it is, for all intents and purposes, a significantly more valuable watch than that. Once again, we're even talking ourselves into why are we buying it? Is it about value? But I'm just saying there's underappreciation out there because of the way people are buying.
Again, another wonderful segue into our third and final point here, which is constantly feeling like you have to. The dog's back again. He's so cute. The dog
is so funny.
Constantly feeling like you have to one-up your own collection. So when you get that $5,000 watch, you immediately think about the $10,000 and the $15,000 and the $20,000. Rather than just having these moments of being content with what you have and not worrying about what's next.
And some of that's the classic collector mentality. We go back to what we said earlier, the thrill of the chase. For some people, enough is never enough, and it is hard to have finally accomplished the thing and then actually spend time thinking about and enjoying the thing. For a lot of people, they need to be on to that next item, and therefore it's really important as either a new collector or a long-term collector, to really drill down and say, what in my collection am I actually enjoying? What am I actually thinking about? What am I putting on the wrist and not putting on because I feel like I should be out stunting and wearing this thing? Am I actually loving and enjoying it? Am I loving it for myself when I'm walking around my house in my underwear, just wearing this watch? Or am I only wearing it when I go out to dinner because I want other people to see it on my wrist? And
that brings in a point I was telling a friend last week. He just started collecting about a year ago. He's 4 watches in, and he was, I think, $1,000 or $2,000 off the watch that he wanted, and he was asking what else he could get. And I said, hey man, just wait a couple months, however long it takes you to save it up, and then get the watch. There is no rush here. Just be content with what you have. You had 0 watches, now you have 3 or 4. So go along that journey and a marathon.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think there's nuance to every collector's journey. And there's some people that are going to get that single watch. I can think of one client that we recently delivered a 5167A to. There's a stainless steel Aquanaut I know in my heart of hearts, maybe he will down the road buy one more Patek. I have the feeling he will indefinitely probably just have that watch. But I know it's the most meaningful watch in his collection by far, and I know every time he looks at it, he's going to cherish it and love it. And he truly was not buying this thing for any other reason that he's always loved the design, the feel, and what that watch is, and it's perfect for him. Versus, I can see other people accomplishing that watch, checking the box, and immediately moving on to the next thing without a second
Correct.
thought. And that's okay too. That is the world we live in, where people are chasing these things. But it's always nice when someone is fully entrenched in what they own.
It is, absolutely. Well, those are our 3 tips for the luxury collector. Like I said, we had the bonus 3 at the front, or bonus 2. I don't think we actually had 3. But a huge thank you again to Hendrick Porsche and our buddy. We can give him a shout out, Elliot, for letting us film here.
Great space.
This morning. If you guys are in the area, truly, this is a dealership like no other. It is a friendly environment. I think it's what we try to have at Windsor, where it's luxury products, but very approachable people in the store that are excited to talk to you about
and
it.
I mean, we all know no one does it like Porsche.
No one does.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.